Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us for another segment. We're going to be joined this morning by Laura McLinn. She's going to share her story of her journey with her son, Jordan, who was diagnosed with a progressive rare disease called Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy. While shocked by the diagnosis, she was committed to making every day count. This relentless optimism on her part led to participating in a clinical trial for the treatment of Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy. Hello, Laura. Thank you for joining us. First of all, could you tell us when Jordan was diagnosed with this condition?
Jordan was almost 4 years old when he was diagnosed with Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy. For us, it kind of was very shocking. We had never heard the words Duchenne. We did not really know what that meant at the time. Jordan was seeing a doctor for some unrelated reasons. So when we did get the diagnosis, we learned how to pronounce it. We learned what it meant. We took a little bit of time to kind of digest that. And then, we just realized this was our journey. We were going to embrace it. And so we decided we were just going to try to make every day the best day ever moving forward. And that's exactly what we try to do.
Laura, if you could, would you go into a bit more detail about some of the things that you learned after the diagnosis?
Well, we learned that Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy is a rare disease. Jordan's actually one of an estimated 10,000 boys living with Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy in the United States. We learned that it is a degenerative muscle wasting disease, which basically means over time, the muscles do, begin to waste away. Typically by the teenage years, individuals living with Duchenne are depending on a wheelchair full time, sometimes sooner. And, as we know, the heart is a muscle too, and muscles do control our breathing. So, we also learned that muscle degeneration caused by Duchenne leads to serious life-threatening complications.
After becoming a part of a community of people living with or caring for people living with Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy, what advice do you now have for families who may be facing a similar diagnosis?
Right away, just connect with other families. This happened for me immediately because we were very public with Jordan's story and our journey, and I have found that it just opened a lot of doors for us. I met families early on who were further along in the journey than we were, and now I'm one of those families that's further along in the journey. So I encourage parents to connect and not only absorb the knowledge that other parents have to share with you, but also pass along what you've learned. Look for opportunities to involve your child in treatment. We actually, I started doing research, and even though we were given zero hope upon diagnosis, I learned that there actually was, there were some things coming up in the pipeline for Jordan. So I started connecting with parents, doctors, scientists, patient advocacy groups, and I learned about a clinical trial from a company called NS Pharma, whom I'm in partnership with here today. And we decided to enroll Jordan. And this month, we're celebrating 5 years of Jordan being on a treatment that we were initially told would never happen even in his lifetime. So very exciting.
Exciting indeed. Now, not just for families in similar situations such as yours, but for anyone involved in the Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy community, what advice do you have for them?
Well, Duchenne is a highly researched disease. There's lots of information out there. There are options out there. Take advantage of what's available. Speak to the doctor, whether it's Duchenne or any rare disease, and just find out what might be available for your loved one who's living with a rare disease. Ask questions. Be an advocate. You have to pave your own way here. And, the most important thing is just really never give up hope that your children can live their best lives.
Laura, what would you like us to keep in mind as kind of a closing thought for our listeners?
So I think, keeping in mind that hope is real, it's alive, never give up that hope that your children can live their best lives. Approach each day as the best day ever. And sometimes they're not going to be the best days ever. I'm just being honest. But you know what? Tomorrow's a new day to have a best day ever. And if you want to, learn more about Duchenne and our journey with Duchenne, you can check out DuchenneDiaries.com to hear more about our story.
Well, Laura, I appreciate you joining us here on Health Professional Radio this morning. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and hearing your story. Hoping for continued success and diligence on your journey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Laura McLinn, sharing her journey with her son, Jordan, who was diagnosed with a progressive rare disease called Duchenne Muscular Dystrophy. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Listen in, download at SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Health Professional Radio.